The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu.
One of my earliest memories starts with me sobbing. I refused to be sorted, no matter what my mom and dad tried. For years, mom carefully sliced open the wrappings around Christmas gifts and saved them on top of the fudge in a big stack. She set the paper down, lay side facing up, and began to fold it. I stopped crying and watched her, curious. She lifted the folded up paper, packed it to her lap, and blew into it like a balloon. She put her hands down on the table and let go. The skin of the tiger was the pattern on the wrapping paper, white background with red candy canes and green Christmas trees.
Ken, 老母，思考这景。
Mom's breath was special. She breathed into her paper animals so that they shared her breath, and thus moved with her life. This was her magic. When I was in high school, I asked my dad, "Dad, how did you and Mom meet?" Dad had picked Mom out of a catalog. He signed up for an introduction service in 1973. He flipped through pages until he saw her picture. My dad said that was the last page of the catalog he saw. In my mind, what kind of woman puts herself into a catalog so that she can be both? He flew to Hong Kong to meet her. She didn't know English except hello and goodbye. He paid a waitress at the hotel restaurant to translate for them. My mom looked at him, her eyes halfway between scared and hopeful. But as she listened, she started to smile.
He flew back to Connecticut and began to apply for the papers for her to come to him. I was born a year later in the year of the tiger.
I thought I knew everything back then. Content felt good, like wine. At my request, Mom also made a goat, a deer, and a water buffalo out of wrapping paper. Mom made a whole menagerie for me. The animals would run around the house while Lao Hu chased them. One time, the water buffalo decided he wanted to wallow in soy sauce. I picked him up quickly, but the paper's legs turned soggy. So my mom wrapped the legs in plastic.
Now he can wallow, just not in soy sauce.
One day, Lao Hu got too close to a sparrow. The bird struck back and tore his ear. So mother carefully taped Lao Hu's ear back together. There was also a time I watched a documentary about sharks. So I asked my mom to make me a shark. The paper shark sank, so my mom made a shark out of tin foil. When I was 10, we moved to a new house across town. Two of the women neighbors came by to welcome us. While they were in the living room, I heard them talking about me.
It seems normal enough. Why did you do that? Something about the mixing never seems right. The child looks unfinished. Slanty eyes, white face, a little monster.
As I entered the room, they became silent.
Oh, hello there. What's your name?
Jack!
That doesn't sound very Chinese.
One day, Mark, one of the neighborhood boys, came over with his Star Wars action figures.
Check out Obi-Wan. He likes it when talks.
Can he do anything else?
Show me your toys. That doesn't look like a tiger at all. Your mom makes toys from trash?
Lao Hu turned and paused, knocking the plastic figure off the table. It hit the floor and broke, and Obi-Wan's head rolled under the couch.
This costs more than what your dad paid for your mom.
Mark punches me and rips Lauhu in half. I stared at the crumpled paper. After Mark left, I spent hours trying to tape Lauhu back together. My fight with Mark didn't end there. Mark was popular at school. I never want to think again about the 2 weeks that followed. I also grew increasingly embarrassed by my mother. She starts speaking less, using gestures instead. She tries hugging me like American mothers on TV, but I always pull away. During dinner, I push the chopsticks and the bowl before me away. Stir-fried green peppers with 5-spice beef. We should eat American foods.
A lot of families cook Chinese sometimes.
We are not other families. That time, I felt we were not any other family because I have a mom who doesn't belong. Then, my father looked at my mom and put his hands on my mother's shoulder. He said he will get a cookbook. So my mom asked,
不好吃.
English, speak English.
Speak English to him.
If I say love, I feel here.
She said as she points to her lips.
If I say I feel here.
She stated again as she put her hand over her heart. Mom finally stopped making the animals when I was in high school. By then, her English was much better, but I was already at that age when I wasn't interested in what she had to say, whatever language she used. Soon enough, Dad and I stood, one on each side of Mom, lying on the hospital bed. She was not yet even 40, but she looked much older.
I know you have to go back to school. Don't worry about me. Just do well in school.
I touched her hand awkwardly, already thinking about my flight back to California. Then, she whispered something to Dad. He nodded and left the room.
Jack, keep the shoebox with you and think of me during gaming. 海去慢慢爱你.
My mom dies while my plane is somewhere over Nevada. My wife, Susan, and I found the shoebox in the attic. The animals no longer move.
Your mom was an amazing artist, you know that?
Later, I found Lauhu crumpled by the bookshelf. I pick him up, and it shifts, unfolding itself. I stroke him. Suddenly, Lauhu unfolds into a letter. It was filled with dense Chinese characters. I had never learned to read Chinese, but I knew the characters were son. I asked a young woman to translate. She read my mother's stories aloud.
In the letter, your mom says, "Son, I wrote to you in the paper animals you loved. If you think of me, you'll bring them back to life. My son, I want you to know my story. I was born in China during a time of great suffering. I lost my parents and was forced into a hard life in Hong Kong, where I was treated like a servant. To escape, I entered a marriage agency and met your father. Life in America was lonely, but you were born. You became my happiness, my last connection to the family I lost. I tried to share my love and culture with you through my language and the paper animals, but you pushed me away. Still, I love you with all my heart. Please remember me and our heritage."
I finally understood my mother's past and sacrifice. I refolded Lauhu cradle him, and walk home, hearing my mother's laugh in every phone.